Where's 7? 7? Anyone from 7? You want to go first or?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Hi, Matt.
How are you feeling? Did the fight in Sydney feel like they've given you a lot of resolve to come here and finish on a strong note here? You've got something left in you for this test match?
Definitely. Sorry. Just got mic as well. Look, I think if you look at the week that we had, the amount of different things that were thrown at the group of players, whether it be COVID, leading into the game, a couple of injuries that we had to manage throughout the game as well. I think it shows a lot about where we're at as a team. Off the back of 3 very difficult games where we've underperformed, not shown the best of our skills and our performance as a team, to come back and get something from that game. Showed a great amount of character and something definitely for us to build on moving forward, whether it be this game or beyond. So there was an element of relief as well, managing just to get across get through those last few overs in particular. But the desire, the fight, the pride that everyone showed out there on that last day in particular is something that we have to harness, and we have to play with more frequently throughout 5 days, not just on the last day when everything's sort of on the line trying to get something from the game, but from ball one as well. And we've proven to ourselves that we can do that now. Can we take that step further? Can we make sure that we do that in a winning state rather than just trying to save a test match? And again, that's what we have to build on, and that's what we have to take from the last game and into this one.
Joe, you mentioned a couple of injuries out of that Sydney test match. Can you give us an update on Ben Stokes and on Jonny as well?
Yeah, we're going to have to assess how they pull up over the next couple of days. I think it's been important to give the guys a bit of a chance to decompress, to get away from the cricket and relax, making sure they're mentally fresh as well as the physical condition coming into this game. So hopefully we'll know more after training today and tomorrow as well.
Will you give them until the very last minute for a bit?
Well, have to see where they're at. I could find out early today. We could find out at some point tomorrow. So I think we just got to manage it as best we can and see where we're at going into the game.
How's Sam feelings after his cross-country ute ride? Is he a bit more Aussie now?
Yeah, I think he feels like he's got a very good understanding of the country. So he's spoken very highly about his experiences in the Big Bash and with the Thunder. And as always, when he's around the group, he brings a lot of energy. He's constantly smiling. He loves his cricket. He's a great guy to have around the environment. And I'm sure if he gets his opportunity, he'll throw everything into his opportunity. So it's nice to have him here, and he'll be wanting to get stuck into training the next couple of days, show what he's got.
First time Ashes test in Hobart, does it feel like a little bit of English conditions here for you?
It's certainly got the nice cloud cover that we're used to back home. But I've not had a look at the wicket just yet. It'd be interesting to see what that looks like. But again, whatever it is, we've got to make sure that we apply ourselves quicker and better than we have done so far on this tour. I think Australia have done that 4 times now, where they've utilised the conditions and read them better than we have, and it's an opportunity for us to turn that around this week.
Standing on Tim Payne's home ground, Joe, are you disappointed for him that he won't be out here for a game he pushed for so hard?
Yeah, look, I've not had the opportunity to speak to Tim, but I hope he's doing okay, and I hope that things are moving on in his situation. But of course, I think any player would love to be playing in their home ground and have that opportunity in a test match. So, of course, disappointing for him and I suppose for all Hobart fans and Tasmania fans around the state.
Joe, you mentioned Sam there. Joss has gone home. Have you decided who's going to keep wicket for you in this test match?
Well, we need to have a look and see where everyone's at. Jonny obviously has huge amounts of experience doing it. We need to make sure that see where he's at physically, and then off the back of that we can make a decision.
Ben and Jonny are they kind of difficult people to say no to, if you like? They're both so keen to play the game and play their full parts of the game. Do you have to be does your judgment almost have to be even more sharp because it's those 2 individuals and they're so passionate, if you like? Yeah,
and you have to trust the medical advice as well. I think those guys work tirelessly hard to make sure that we're in the best possible position to go and win games, and sometimes that's making some difficult calls on the other side of it as well. But ultimately we'll have to weigh everything up, make sure that we feel that we've got 11 players that are going to be able to manage the game and give ourselves the best chance of winning. So there's a lot to contend with in the next few days, but that's not something that we're having to deal with for the first time on this trip.
Some of those fringe guys who haven't played as much, maybe Dan, Ollie Pope, all Burns haven't played a couple of games either. Are they ready to come back? And are you confident they are ready to play Test cricket again?
Yeah, all you can do when you're on the fringe is work as hard as you can and making sure you feel as ready as you can. One thing about this tour and all tours really in these like bubble environments, this COVID world that we're currently living in, is there not opportunities to go out and play and to have game time. But as players, you just got to manage that as best as you can. You've got to feel like you're ready in yourself. You're putting in those situations in practice as best as possible. So when you do get out there, you're as mentally ready as you possibly can be as well.
Mel, go ahead.
Jonny, obviously last week in Sydney, before the build up to that test, things were quite fraught with losing coaching staff and all the stuff that happened. Was there something that you can take out of the preparation for that week that was a little bit different and use it this week?
I think the one thing that we gained from that was a sense of real togetherness that we had to. We really had to pull together and help each other prepare in a slightly different way that we've not had to before, or for a long time. And I do think that sometimes is a good thing. That you have to be a little bit more selfless. You have to spend a bit more time caring for the other guys around you, making sure that you're all getting exactly what you need to be as ready as you can be in that situation. And I suppose you look at how we had to approach that last day. It's sort of paid its dividends in some respects, and I think that sometimes that's something that can really bring a side together and bring the best out of a team, and something that I think we should do probably a little bit more frequently if we get opportunities.
Ben, and then we'll do Andrew last one. Go ahead, Ben.
Joe, as one of the great batsmen yourself that we've seen over the last few years, how do you rate Usman Khawaja? Do you think he's in that top echelon? His numbers suggest that he sort of is, but he just doesn't play that much for Australia.
Well, I was surprised he didn't start the series. Personally, I think he's a wonderful player. I think as well he's at a period of his career where he's very content with his game. He's got an understanding of how he wants to go and play. And we've got some work to do to make sure that we keep him quiet in this last game. But it was a phenomenal effort. What he managed to achieve last week was truly brilliant. So yeah, as I say, we need to make sure we keep him quiet as best we can here in Tasmania.
Andrew, last one.
Just on Jonny and Ben, what do they need to do in training today to prove that they're going to go?
I think they need to make sure they feel like they're physically in a place where they can get through 5 days of hard cricket, whatever Australia throw at them. They're in a position where they can go out and play and firstly get through the game, but also most importantly, put in a performance as they managed to last week as well. It's all right being fit to play, but you've got to be fit to perform, and I think that's what we've got to work out in the next 2 games.
But the big bets specifically as a bat, and with Jonny, could he take what does he need to do just, I suppose, be able to take the gloves?
You certainly can pick Ben just as a batter, absolutely. And similarly with Jonny as well, he's been playing as a batter anyway. So, as I say, we've got to just see where they're at, see what their bodies can handle, and then assess from there.
Thank you, everyone.
Cheers, guys.
Good to
Thank
see you all.